got really long fingers, which she probably gets from me. But my son, just 10 days after the birth, he defended his dissertation.
Oh,
in
wow.
music competition, and he is a pianist. And so he's looking at these little fingers on the kid going, hey, this is good. Switch it to the top.
Mhm.
Yeah, he scheduled his dissertation defense
Hello, everyone.
for the due date.
Uh-huh.
Baby came early.
I'm not getting any audio, Rob.
I'm gonna go ahead and do it, so.
All right. Why not? Let's see. Hold on, let's see. What's the baby's name?
Theron,
Theron.
Theron, Theron, Theron Williams.
All right. What are they gonna call
So I've never asked
I
that
am.
question of anybody because my dad told me the story about when I was born. They chose to name me Maynard, and my mom asked my dad, what are we gonna call him? And he looked at her like, I've never been called anything other than Maynard, so.
All right.
There's that.
Hey, Phil, can you hear
Yeah,
us?
I can hear you now.
Good. Okay, Brandy? Thought I heard her say something. How's everybody doing? Adjusting to the new time? Not yet. It's a little messing with you.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey,
How's it going?
good.
Hello, Ms. Smith.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Anybody heard from Bridget? I didn't hear that she was not coming.
I didn't hear that she was not telling you.
She was here last week introducing the new rec director.
Who's that?
I haven't had it yet, but we came to see Jim, because obviously that work very closely with Public Works. It is. A little background.
Good. 6 o'clock. Like we're all here. We heard from Phil.
Who's there?
Oh, hi, Phil.
Hello, I'm here.
I'm looking at the screen. Um,
Anybody need agenda minutes?
yes. Please. Try to find it. All right, so let's call this meeting to order. Thanks. Been a while since I was led a meeting, so I don't remember the order of things. Today, what is today?
14.
February, yeah, it's Pie Day. Does anyone bring pies? Did you sign that?
What? No pie?
I know, I have 2 Pie Day shirts, and it's the only day to wear them, and I didn't wear either. I didn't get a chance to wear either. That's where I'm at. All right, so today, March 14th, 2022, 6 p.m., Master Plan Task Force. Do quick attendance. Lindsay Smith, co-chair. I'll just go this way, whatever that is.
David
clockwise.
Frack, co-chair.
Maynard Southern.
Celia Fiero. Virginia Free.
Brad Rich.
Ashley Wood.
Eric Russell.
Up on Zoom,
Bill Vermeer.
here, great, and staff members that are present,
Ron Taylor, staff.
and our consultant.
Brandy Saxton.
Excellent. Did everyone have a chance to go over the agenda? Is there any changes we need to make?
Nope.
Okay. And Brandy, you have a limit, is today your abbreviated day?
It is. I can stay here for about 30 minutes.
Okay,
So whatever you need from me,
okay,
Why
do
don't
that
you,
first.
Wendy, do her thing first, and we'll do the minutes afterwards, since
Okay.
she's on a tightrope.
yep, we'll move approval of the minutes in case there's anything. So let's go ahead and jump in with Brandy. And I saw that there's some things that were sent today. I unfortunately haven't had a chance to stop and look at anything. Go ahead, Brandy, why don't you take over?
Okay, so you should have, as of mid-morning or at some point, whenever Rob took my emails and re-forwarded them to you, gotten all of the chapters. So there is a working full draft of each chapter and of the vision section. So those are reasonably complete. I mean, they're not a final product, obviously, because you're still going to be working on them, but they've got the maps and most of the charts and tables. There's a couple of indications of some additional information we're still gathering to put in there, but you know, I think they're probably in the 85 to 90% range on completeness. So that's a good place to be, to take them out and get feedback on them.
Did anybody have any questions? Did you have a chance to look them over or have any questions or comments about the transportation, economic development?
I'm just doing the land use.
Say yes.
Yes, okay. Where's the land use one? I'm trying to catch up. Okay,
Yeah, the land use one is a bit of a monster in terms of being a really big file. I'll be working on that to fix the issue that the maps that's causing that. But for now, I did get it to be half the size that it started originally. So I consider that a success and moved on.
okay.
Can I add?
Yes, please.
I noticed on the maps that the Ivy Road and the Choke Road, you have to move them down. It's incorrectly, the roads are not, the titles of the road are incorrect. You have the Choke Road as, it's really Potato Road. And then there is the Choke Road, that's the next one down. And the one up, above the Mud Pond Road is the Ivy Road. Which is.
Okay, I'll have to go back and double check because those are the names that pulled off the state's file, but that it doesn't mean that they are right. So
I wanted to make another suggestion. I've looked at this. I would like to see the streams that are in this town, and I know I have one from the first land use one, and you know, because I don't know if you can see this.
Cameron's over there. So's the microphone.
Can you see that? Oh, no, you can't. But
no.
I can, we can get this to you. But a map with all the streams on it, because I think it really shows a lot more about what the land is and why someone can't do something there.
So there are streams on a lot of those maps. They're not really thick lines. So the one thing that might be particularly for the map that's on page 35, the water resources map, I can thicken the lines up so they stand out a little bit more, but the streams are there. Maybe we can label the major ones.
Well, they're not really major. They're intermittent streams, but they're all, like, there's a whole bunch going down at Crystal Lake. There's a bunch that are part of Muskoma Lake. And then on George Pond Road, Mud Pond Road, there are several that come down from that too. So,
I'll look to see. I use the state's hydrography file. It might not have the intermittent streams. I've now got the files from your natural resource inventory that might have them. So I can see if there are some additional ones that could get added.
you're the one from 95? That natural resource inventory?
Yeah, I now have those files. So I can see
That's
if
where,
those are there.
one done by Lockdell Associates. If anyone wants to see this thing. I say this because being on the ZBA, people buy land and they come in and they don't really look at their, really close to the land, what's there. And we often run into problems thinking, they think everything can build everywhere and on anything and move streams and things like that. So it's always a shock to them. And same thing with soils. And we have a difficult time, giving a variance or something like that, and I just think this kind of thing is more of an education. Anybody want to look at what Enfield is, or to buying property and so on and so forth. And that's why I bring it up. But I got one more other comment. On the Bog Road, you have it, a lot out of it by George Pond,
I
recreation. And it's not recreation. It's somebody who put in maybe it was, but they put in a, you run around the bikes and ATVs and
Oh, yeah.
it's a motocross thing. That's
Yep.
not the land they put it in, but they didn't get any permission. It's right into a prime wetland. And earlier, years ago, somebody was in there and tried to develop off there, and the state said no. So there's a road that goes in there, but I would
So-
not say that's recreation. 'Cause
is the four-wheel stuff happening there? Because that's how the assessors have it described as recreation use.
Who has it? Sense?
Your property assessment
What
stuff.
do you think? He's not still doing that, is he?
So, yeah, Rob Malsa sold it. And I think, yeah, so it's a problem there because they hit him with a current use penalty because he was doing that.
Okay.
But that doesn't give him approvals from a planning and zoning standpoint, that's for sure.
Yeah, but how about the current person? Are they taking it over?
I don't think
That
so.
is not a good
I
thing.
heard it was somebody
That
from
place
out of
is
town. who bought
loaded
it.
with wild.
Yeah. I mean, it was never like an official
No,
doing it, just a private thing anyways, but
right.
yeah, it was just sold, I think it's a private.
Very
one, right?
sensitive area.
It's not like a,
Yeah,
So-
I think so. I think so.
Rob
It's not
Malsa.
an official.
oh, well.
So
Okay,
that's
well,
what-
we can fix that. We can change that one out. If it's just back to undeveloped land, we can change that back around for the next version of the map.
Yeah, because people think it is. And
Well, does the town still have it classified that way on the property?
They
card?
do, but
mean,
we're not beholden to it entirely, but that is how it's described.
do that.
So, yeah, there's two issues at play. Current use, which is what he got hit on.
Mhm. Which must be on his property card too.
Or private, what he was doing was his own, using his own land. There was no professional events there or business kind of use there. Which you can, obviously you can use motorcycles and stuff on your own property. But he got into trouble because it was all in current use. And Julie, who's very aggressive, found out about it. She looked down on Google Earth and said, okay, here's, you can see it's a dirt bike motocross track.
Right.
And they pulled it out of current use, which
Got it.
made him quite upset, but it was very much accurate.
It's also prime wetland. And that's, I wish you had those on there,
I guess so, man.
prime wetlands. But you have wetlands.
The wetlands are on the map on page 35. I think it's the one on page 35. I say that without double checking.
I'm looking at them, good.
Yep, that one's got the wetlands, 35.
I'm sure this is a challenge, putting all of this information, you can't put it all in one map, so you gotta break it down to maps, and then
Yep.
make it harder to follow sometimes, but you don't really have much of a choice.
Well, I mean, on the plus side, a lot of the town's GIS has a lot of these layers, and you can toggle them in real time online.
Randy,
Yep.
in your text, you refer to, I guess it's the previous version of the natural resources inventory. The Conservation Commission did complete an update to it, I guess, last year. And we've got one, I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's not 2021.
Yeah, I think Rob and I just need to talk through what these files are that I've gotten. It's not particularly clear from the pile of it's a lot of files, and so it's hard to figure out what it is you are referencing as the natural resource inventory document. So this is the one that's linked to is actually the one I think that you have up on the town website right now. But I have to admit to not being clear myself as to which of these documents, what their derivation is, which of them are sort of working documents, which of them are final documents, things like that.
One that you talked about was done in 2005, and that's what I've been talking about with the maps. That's where my reference, which I believe you got a copy of them all. You put them in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it would be good to acknowledge the fact that the Conservation Commission did update it last year. And, you know, you use the maps, you know, whether they were produced in 2005 or 2021, you know, find the latest ones, figure out which is which, if there's any changes, and just go with the latest version.
Rob, do you know if we have an electronic copy of that?
That's what I was just.
Because I know it's really difficult to get an electronic copy out of.
So I find it, yeah, really
Miss-
interesting.
Um,
2005 is on
2000
there
right.
electronically.
I think
But
we
nothing
have to catch up with the current regime, and their lead seems to think that an electronic copy would be enormous from my conversations, and we can try to convince them that it's not.
I mean, honestly, it would be
Yeah, so we need to get an updated
Good
version,
resource,
because I'm
yeah.
sure that you have not gotten it, because I just, Dr. Theis,
Got tons of books, so.
sure, but we need electronic versions of things. Unfortunately, because it's gonna go into an electronic version, and he's got it electronically, so we need to get it from him electronically. And so we just need to, like,
I'll make a note, I'll reach out.
I mean, he had to have, they got it printed, and most printing places, you send it to them electronically to get printed, so it exists.
It's got to be a PDF somewhere.
Right, and so I have found that sometimes there's a little misunderstanding on what side, you know, that that's not the world's largest document.
Well, and it might be important to mention to him, because he's
Right, so we
done
do,
all
we,
the work to get it out
Right,
there, that
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
on the town website.
we know on the
So-
town website, but we also need to then send it
should
and
have
get
it
it
there.
here so we can have these updated pieces. So I think that's just a matter of getting it from Dr. Tice or whoever else is with the Conservation Commission. We might have that. So,
Yeah,
Um,
and that is something that going forward, you should probably try to get a bit of a handle on. It's actually something I encounter fairly frequently with communities that have conservation commissions, that they are regularly updating their natural resource inventories. And if you want to use them in your plans or in your regulatory process, you kind of got to have a known version, and that's your official version. And then if you're going to update it, there needs to be a mechanism by which you have a new version that's
Sure.
officially recognized. So that can be one of the challenges at sort of incorporating the ongoing work of the Conservation Commission into your municipal plans and regulations.
Rob, do you know if there's a staff liaison or you the staff liaison? Is there?
Jim is kind of our mapping guy. So
Okay.
I talked to Jim. I'm fairly certain, like you said, the deliverable from the Conservation Commission, most likely it's PDF.
Right.
What Randy needs is what's called shape files, which comes out of a mapping piece of software.
Yeah, and I guess what I can't tell, Rob, from the stuff that you sent me is exactly what the derivation of these things are. So there's a lot of data. It's not exactly clear what's from when, or where it came from necessarily. So it could just be a matter of trying to line back up what they've got on their various maps. And we don't, we weren't reproducing the full set. They had a much more robust set of maps, the habitat maps and things like that as well. I think as you move forward with the plan, if you do a full natural resources chapter, you would probably include more of that. But I did want to hit some of the key points around the stuff that's wet, stuff that's steep, those pieces. But there's a lot of habitat information in there that's not in the plan at this point.
Reach out to Dr. Tice and see what he's got.
Okay.
See what we can do.
So my only other comment is more of a general one. Is it possible to have captions that identify at least the larger photos throughout the report?
Yeah, you guys can write them. Because in many cases, I don't actually have a really strong sense of what they are. Some of them are obviously kind of self-explanatory. Others are photos I have found that, probably deserve a more precise caption than I would necessarily provide. But yeah, we can work towards that.
Okay, that would be great, because I was going through it and I saw the picture of the waterfall in the land use section, and I'm like, wow, that might be a nice hike. I wonder where it is.
Smith Pond.
Big Dog
That's
Falls.
what I was gonna say.
I kind of thought I see Big Dog Falls, but
I'm assuming Big Dog Falls.
It's
'cause-
Little Dog Falls, I think, isn't it?
Is that one Little Dog Falls?
Yeah. I think so.
there's a big dog and a little dog.
Yeah, there is open.
I've
Yeah.
only, I've only
Little
gone by
Dog
them when
is
they
right
have-
close to the pond, and then halfway down is the big one. And they're
That's
it's
good information.
excellent hikes.
It's not dry.
Yeah, I've only ever seen them when
I
there's
was gonna
no.
say, I went out there, it was
Okay. Anything else? We've got Brandy for 9 more minutes. So anything else on land use? Right now? Knowing we are gonna get a little bit more nitty gritty in the focus groups hopefully and some of that draft stuff. Brandy, when we, wait, I should count to 10. Anybody else? I wanted to ask about, you sent this, the spreadsheet of people that have signed up. I just want to clarify, because we'll figure this out.
Mhm.
If I'm looking at, I'll just look at the economic development if it's ours under the days and times, every once in a while it says
Mhm.
0.75. I don't.
Yeah, I just am seeing that and I'm suddenly horrified. It's there was
don't-
something very odd with the spreadsheet. So those were individual hours.
Right.
So I think that let me try to pull up the I had to actually copy and paste this all into a new spreadsheet because it was being exceedingly grumpy.
Okay.
And I can see that when I did that, it went very badly.
I just want to know how to interpret. So, and then-
Yeah, no, they're individual. So one of them's going to be 6 and one of them's going to be noon, I think. But let me go back here and see if I can
Okay.
pull that back up. That was in the yeah. Yeah, seriously, it made like a 40 megabyte Excel spreadsheet. I don't even really know how that's possible, but it did. Actually, oh no, it's a 76 megabyte Excel spreadsheet. So it's a very impressive spreadsheet. Probably start my computer fan just whirring so heavily that you won't be able to hear me speak.
Okay, on my computer.
Yeah, no, I made a new one. The original one is still sitting here on my computer as a bit of a mystery.
That gets sent out? I missed it. Missed that. I didn't see it.
It got sent to just me, David. and
Oh,
Rob.
okay. That's fine, as long as I didn't miss it.
No, and Rob, is there any way to make a quick photocopy of it? Yeah, I work well on paper.
Okay.
I'll do-
Are you looking at it, Lindsay?
I am,
So can you look at the economic development one?
yes.
Okay, so row 6, Hannah, Tuesday, 6 p.m.
Yeah, is that 6 p.m., the 0.75?
That's 6 p.m. So wherever it says 0.75, that's 6 p.m.
Is that the same with Keith Gilbert all the way across?
Yes. And then also in Hannah's on Saturday, that's a 10 a.m.
Saturday, oh, the 0.41666 is 10 a. Is
Yeah,
Saturday?
10 a.m. I can't explain why. And let me see, I thought there was some noons floating around in here as a solo. You know how Excel like takes it as text and then if it recognizes that it's a time or a date, it does this weird formatting thing. If you flip over to housing,
Yeah, so I just really quick before we leave economic development,
Mhm.
Gilbert had 0.75 all the way across, except
yep,
for Monday,
those
6 p.m.
Yep. Those were
Okay.
all just individual selections of just 6 p.m.
Okay.
So I think you can say that whenever you come across a 0.75 in here, that's what it will be.
Yes.
So I'm basically giving you the key code here.
Ooh, I like the key code. Okay. All right. Next one.
Okay, so in housing, there's another one. There's going to be a 2 p.m. So if you go to the housing tab, row 8, Dick Demuse,
Mhm.
Wednesday, that's just a straight up 2 p.m.
Yeah, it came across as 2 p.m.
That one came across okay. Oh, right. Okay, then I think that's it for individual hours.
Yeah, I think, all right. So these are all times that they're available. If we assign this, before I lose you, if we come up with dates and times, we can assume that you will be available.
Yep, I'm still okay on those. Actually, switch over to the land use tab.
Okay, land use, yep.
Susan Brown, the last row.
Huh?
It should be reading 4 p.m., noon, and then on Friday, noon. Are those coming through?
Yep, she's all good. I
Okay,
don't see
cool.
any other ones that looked weird. It was just Keith Gilbert. Just
Yeah,
economic development.
I don't know. It was a very bizarre little bit of spreadsheet effort. I
then-
don't know what was going on.
Are you, and you're going to be available virtually, I'm assuming?
I could also do them in person to some degree as well with a bit of, I mean, it sort of depends on a little bit of juggling too, in terms of what else I've got on the calendar. But so you go ahead and set them up and figure out when they fit. We can talk or email tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then figure out what you need. in terms of how you're going to run. You know, if you're running them virtually, I can do them virtually. If you're not, then we can.
It may be hybrid just to
Yeah.
multiple folks, but you know, so if I just need to know if that's better for you, if we're already doing them hybrid. And then it is your recommendation that not both people from a subcommittee be at the meetings because it gets sticky, or is it okay?
I think that you are probably okay, but there is the potential of it someday becoming sticky. So you should just be somewhat aware of that. I don't think you have an issue right now of concern, but it is an interesting problem that can arise.
Why is that? I'm confused.
So do you, can you explain it for Brad? I can't remember that. Some people are.
There has been a ramping up of sort of public of open meeting law issues, actually both in around the country. There's been some cases in New Hampshire. There's been some activity in Vermont recently too. And so one of the issues is that the idea that we always used to work with, that you could have less than a quorum of a committee and they could be engaged in something and that was not a meeting, is no longer necessarily being upheld by the courts. So depending on the variations of exactly how your state enabling law is written, in some cases it's come down to as little as one, so the committee of one theory. So if you assign Lindsay the job of getting the chocolate chip cookies for the next meeting, like the trip to the grocery store might have to be warned as a public meeting. It's down to that level of, if you actually follow this logic all the way through, that's where you end up. So it's a little bit different, from around the country, from state to state, because the enabling laws are a little bit different and the laws around open meeting law are a little bit different. But this is becoming sort of a hot button issue. So when you have a community where there's sort of a group of activists who might be pushing that type of thing, doing public information requests, you got to be careful of that. But I don't think you have that issue, and so it isn't as big of a problem for you. But something to be aware
the point is that no more than one of us should be at any of these meetings, or are you saying none of us should be at these meetings?
Oh, yeah. I'm saying you can definitely have one of you, and I don't really think that you're facing an actual problem if you want to do more than one. So if you want to do two, in terms of the open meeting law question, because you're not under that kind of pressure or have those kind of issues going right now. But
Thank you.
it is something, yeah. I just brought it up at the last meeting to make you aware of it.
Great. We're talking
Okay.
At the focus group meetings, that's what we were.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just again, it's just being hyper aware that there's definitely people that are out getting to some granular. There's a lot of stuff that's happening continuously around the country, around the states. So, but
Okay, so I need to jump off, but good luck with figuring out what people can go at what times to what places on what topics, because I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be like really bad wedding planning around this, trying to get the right group of people around the table.
great. Thank you, Brandon.
Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a beer,
Okay.
pass around. So
Yep.
it's a lot of copies.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was 3.
Yeah.
So pass them around. Remember, they're not titled, so you'll have to. This one, the one with Kate Plumley at the top, which one's that?
Yeah.
I said it's not mine.
I'll have to look further. Because-
Three separate ones.
Yeah. Okay,
This is the first one I passed.
I think, because this is Keith.
I'll deal with the mine on the computer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Actually,
Paper.
we are, let's
Well,
see,
it's already been printed, so.
Andrea's is actually on the top of that one. So this, let's
Oh,
put
so yeah.
Andrea Lassard is at the top. And then there's.
Andrea Lasser.
I think
That's who I-
so. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me look here.
I have Kate at the
Yeah.
top of mine.
I'm trying to, hold on.
Kate, Keith, Tim,
All right, yep.
Here's Andrea Lasser.
I know what everybody has. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to,
He's just handing us out the opposite.
okay.
Whichever one you gave us.
So the very first one he gave us is land use. The top page. Okay. Uh-huh. The second one is economic development.
He may need you to share your screen so that Bill can see it too.
Yes. Gotta log in. So. So we've only had 18 people, so we're gonna put the ones that we have, separate them. I'm hoping that we don't have. I think our goal was to not have one person be on more than one focus group. So let's divide up the ones we do have, and then we'll see what categories we have to fill from invitation,
This is
and
land use,
which one?
Transportation.
the last one.
This one that has Amy Stewart at the top is transportation. The very first one he gave us with Kate at the top was land use. So the one with Kate is the first person is land use. The one with Andrea Lassard at the top is economic development. And then the one with Amy Stewart is transportation. And we have a housing,
Print the last one.
I don't know,
We got three.
only three. We need housing.
Is it? The first one is of everybody who signed up.
No, it
No.
depends on who's at the top. So the first one should be the one with Andrea Lassard at the top. And that's economic development group.
Right.
So that's everyone who signed up for that group. So that's how we separate. Each group has one.
Each group has one.
For which group? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one with Kate Plumley Stewart is the land use group. And then the last one with Amy Stewart was the transportation group. And then he's working on the last one.
Well done.
Thanks. He's like, keep thinking there's one behind me, but that is not a plug.
You got 18 people.
We have 18 people total, but the same people signed up for multiple ones. And we don't, and what I'd like to do is to try and not have the same people on multiple focus groups. So, for example, Tim Jennings has signed up for all of them. We're gonna pick him for one focus group. Yeah, that's my hope. If it's easier and put Tim on all of them, we can do that. And we can have that conversation, but my hope was to try and, we might have to do some legwork to fill in some categories that don't get filled, but to have more voices. If possible, and have as many different eyes on things as possible. But there might be something for consistency. So there's an argument there. We can definitely entertain that conversation. What do other people feel? Yes, no, support?
I mean, I think if we can make it happen, I would try to differentiate who's on what. There's definitely, I don't know all of these people, but the ones that I know of, I know there's different strengths there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then leads me to, do they go on that group or do they go on a differing opinion into another group?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yes, and so on the second page is the timing, and it looks like there's actually some pretty good availability for most of everybody here. So I think we can maybe try to look and see who fits the group best, and if they tackle 2 things or something. And then we can kind of move around from there, because Brandy's right, this is a little bit like, making a really complex seating. Okay, so and we did have, okay, so we need to get one up for Phil. I can try to, let's see, share, well, I gotta log into the whole shebang first. So let me go to, as soon as I get there. So 1 second, Phil, sorry about this.
Okay, I'm waiting.
So patiently, stand by. There we go. Let me make sure my microphone is off. Off.
Wasn't there a time when you used to be able to do this kind of selection using punch cards and a steel rod? Do you remember that?
Recording in progress.
Cut your audio.
It is cut. I thought I cut it. Oh, needed to cut again. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. And we are looking at which one. So
Now, these are all the people that signed up.
these are all the people that have signed up. Yep. And so I'm gonna bring the zoom down slightly. Maybe.
So when they signed up, they expressed an interest in one or more of these areas?
Yes.
Okay.
So I sent the thing around to everyone. And yes, what they could do is we asked them to, we explained in the survey or survey sheet, the sign up sheet, that they would only be picked for one, express their area they were interested in. They also picked their the characteristics or kind of, their stakeholder characteristics, and then times that they were available. So,
So is there anybody that only selected one area that they were interested in?
Yeah, there are 3. that I
Yeah,
see.
they're.
okay, but
So that would be a good way to start.
sure. All right. Unfortunately, Phil, I can't put up all 3 sheets. So what do we have? So maybe we do start with who is
Email
only,
the sheet too.
huh?
Which one is this one that you have up? How's that?
Oh, I can email him.
Oh,
Rob,
never mind, I can see now. How's it?
Rob, I can email him.
Yeah, if you can email them to me, then I'll pull them up on my big screen here.
I'd say it's,
That's the table.
I'd say Susan's the only one that's
Okay.
only selected one group that I've noticed thus far.
I think Dick Dume is only on housing.
Let me find it.
Liz Rizzo,
Liz Rizzo is only on housing. I
Okay.
think Jeff Carney is only on land use.
Liz is on eco development too.
Oh, she, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil, I had it. No, I don't know where it's at.
She is.
I will find it.
She's not on the one I have.
Not on the one I have here.
Unless you gave me
What,
two of the
Alfred?
same.
That's something else.
I don't know.
Does your economic
Focus group
development look
info.
different than the others?
Yep, because this is, he didn't give me that one
looks
then,
different.
so I need a different one.
That looks.
Just hold on, right.
All, the economic development one is the more compact of all the ones we got.
Scratch
All
that.
right.
Now I got it.
So yeah, Liz Rizzo was on housing.
Phil, I just emailed it to you. Hopefully the attachments are there.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Okay.
Only on economic.
And Dick Dumais looks like he's only on housing.
Okay.
Got it.
Brown is only on land use, yeah?
Yeah, that's all. I see.
I don't see the file. Oh, there it is.
Down at the bottom.
Yep.
Julie Eckert is only on economic development.
Okay. Yep. Okay, and then what else do we have? Is there another only one?
Carl
No, he's on two,
Russell.
he's on economic development.
Yeah,
Carl Russell's on two, so.
Okay, Lindsay, I got it. What sheet are you on?
All right, actually, they're,
All of them.
they're kind of looking at all of them right now. So that's the, what we're pulling out first is the people that are only on, that only signed up or only expressed interest. Let me say it that way, expressed interest in one focus group. So right now we can see in economic development that Julie Eckert has expressed. So I'm just gonna highlight her here because we'll just say she's in that one. We'll figure out the time next.
Yep.
So we have Julie Eckert. We noticed in land use, correct, that
Mhm.
Susan Brown.
Yep.
Also Jeffrey Carney.
Yeah, Jeff Carney.
Okay, so Jeff Carney and Susan Brown both expressed interest. Now, what I'm interested in is what, so I'm gonna highlight those and what categories. I'm gonna flip over really quickly to, I had over here, Brandon Whitney had sent me this beautiful list. Oh, you guys can't see it. I'm not sharing the screen. So, okay, so we've also got our stakeholder lists to think about. Oh, I love a Venn diagram. All right, so we have Jeff Carney and land use and Susan Brown and economic development. We have Julie Eckert. And that's only, those are the, I only see Liz Rizzo. Where else do you see
She's
her?
on housing.
She's in housing.
Is that it?
And Dick Dumais.
And Dick Dumais.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have the
so-
right economic
so-
development. She's only on one.
Okay. So housing, we've got Liz Rizzo. We'll highlight her. And Dick Dumais is on housing.
Yep.
There he is. Great.
Amy Stewart is only on two of them.
Yeah.
He's on housing. He's on transportation.
Okay. So Amy Stewart, parent, school-age children, cyclist, hiking, outdoor enthusiast.
I think she left off an, I mean, an important factor too, is that she is an employee within she works in town,
Okay,
lives and works in town, so.
so we have her on housing and transportation. And for transportation, she's parent with school-age children, or cyclist, hike, outdoor enthusiast. For housing, young adult, business owner, work from home, large property owner, longtime resident.
Or you-
No, it's
Nope.
off, it's off.
Oh, am I-
Yeah, she's got the same.
Oh,
thing. It's
same
just
thing.
off.
Oh, I
It's
see.
gotta be the
Okay.
same person,
It's,
right?
it's off. Yep. Aha. I'm figuring it
They're a
out.
little off-
Sorry, they're a little
off
off.
But we have nobody in transportation yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's put her in transportation. Done. See, this is how we do it. And then we'll figure out times. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Who else is only on
Who
two?
was that?
That was Amy Stewart.
Amy Stewart.
I think Kurt only sent two.
Okay, Kurt Goddard he's on land use
Because
and housing.
Has a real strength of land use.
He does have a real strength for land use.
But,
Yeah, I put him in housing because, well, he's on a planning board.
Okay,
so he's got areas of both.
right?
We're talking about Kurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got the. He's the one
So-
always talks about, the lots and things like that, so we can.
Well, he's also always talking about hiking and
Right.
being out on the land.
Phil, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, just making sure.
So, okay. How about? I'm gonna skip Kurt for a second. Is Hannah, Mascar?
Yeah, that's
Anna?
her-
Okay. I
that's
didn't-
my partner.
Okay.
I know her pretty well.
She's on four.
Well, at least I didn't say massacre, which is massacre. She's on 4?
She's on all
On
four.
Oh,
Four.
she is on all 4. Okay.
Andrea Lassard is on 2,
Okay.
economic development and housing.
All right. I'm also then trying to then look at availability. Like if we don't know economic development.
Maybe put the list together and worry about the timing after,
Okay.
because it's gonna be too much.
Yeah.
All right.
The height.
Uh,
All right, so Andrew.
okay, so what we're trying to find is. Well, I say Andrea Lassard on housing.
So when I look at her
Mhm.
profile stuff,
Mhm.
work at home, event coordinator, that's probably why she has an interest in economic development.
Okay.
Okay, she might have an interesting perspective.
What?
She might have an interesting perspective in economic development
Okay.
and she's a small business owner.
Sure. All right, let's put her in economic development. Here we go.
I'm making another suggestion for
Yes.
economic development,
Okay.
which is Aram Donegan.
Yeah.
He's on
Energia.
two.
It's the Energia.
Fijian.
Yeah.
I like to see him in land use.
You'd like to see Aram in land use?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Make your cases.
So my argument for Aram is that he's affiliated with Tuck School.
He's got 5 kids.
And
6.
6? Does he have
He's
6?
my neighbor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but from an economic development standpoint, his connections to the Tuck School, his, choosing to come move here, and just in some conversations with them, that's definitely an interest. Moving on.
I think so. Great.
And what-
I'm also actually, he says
economic
he's a
development.
landlord.
Put him on land use. We don't have anybody out there that lives out in that area.
We have Kate, who also lives up beyond.
Well, I know Kate and how she thinks. So.
Well, I know Aram, and I would probably put that close to the other side, so.
Well, so you're asking him to. He's a negotiator
Yeah, depends.
and he's done service for the last 25 years. He's been in the service.
I mean, he has an interesting perspective. I guess my curiosity is the perspective on land use. Besides,
He has a large property and he makes trails. He trains all his kids. They're out skiing, they're great kids. but he knows the area, he knows what's there. People are gonna say it's gonna be 3 acres. I don't know if he's gonna, what he's gonna say. I'm just throwing that out. But, I'd really like to see him in that, in the land use one. I don't think you're gonna get any business. He's really a negotiator, and that's what he teaches at Tufts, when he works from home.
I guess the one. He could still utilize that information too, I guess, in land use too, if he's interested in economic development. I mean,
Well,
How are we
it's just a
using what we
question which
got,
chapter
but-
we want, it's a limited scope, so which chapter do we want them
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
to review and have?
Right.
He's also got a very broad perspective. He traveled the world and spent time in Afghanistan and, his military career has taken him a lot of places. He's got a big perspective. In the Tufts School.
Oh, you work at Tufts?
No, no, no.
No,
but I
he's
know
an
him.
alum.
I mean, I followed I went to the Tufts School.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I get notice about new faculty
Okay.
and I knew he bought the farm on.
All right, so it's between economic development and land use for Aram. Is that what we've narrowed
Yeah.
those two down?
Think so.
Okay,
Put him on both.
well, we're
We
gonna,
Might have to.
we're gonna hold off. We're gonna continue on. I'm gonna
Did we
make,
decide to put him somewhere or not?
no, not yet.
Okay.
We'll,
We've only crossed them off
Ask them.
housing.
yep, we crossed them off housing.
Cross them off.
But I'm gonna put,
Eliminated.
I'm gonna make a motion, I'm gonna say Holly West on housing. As someone who's building, I just think that that's gonna be, the reason I was interested in Aaron for housing is because he says he's a landlord, but Holly is trying to build lower economic housing or
He's not a landlord, is he?
maybe I'm reading things wrong.
Yeah, no,
So
so the way these are printed,
unfortunately,
everything's adjusted to the bottom of the
retire, oh,
cell.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
So if it's below their name, it's the next person down.
Aha.
Yeah,
So the
the last-
landlord would be one Nancy Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, the
She
last
said
element of-
landlord?
She did.
The last,
Never noticed, huh?
I do pay rent. I do promise. I pay rent. I not faithfully.
You never notice
Almost
the other
every
one
month.
that's there.
Okay. I'm gonna put Holly West on housing because
Yeah.
of again, we're trying to also fill what we've identified as our stakeholders and get a broad perspective. We'll come back to Aram, but I'm gonna cross Nancy off of other things. I'm gonna cross Holly off of other
wait,
things.
what did you put Nancy on?
I haven't, nope, never mind.
So you're crossing her off?
Are you trying to figure out what to do with Aram?
We have not. We just paused there. We've made two good cases and I think maybe
He's a lecturer on negotiation in the Department of Urban and Environmental Policy and Planning.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can you be on all of
at
our?
the Tux School Business Department. At the Tux School Business, he lectures on urban and environmental policy and planning.
I feel like that's land use.
That's land use.
Yeah. Put them in land use.
Well, he's interested in land
Temporarily.
use. Put him there.
All right, we're gonna do that for the moment.
There you go.
And if there's anybody that we give multiple chapters to, great. All right, we're gonna put him in land use. Oops, I've been crossing my mom off, so people don't let me forget about her.
Stop knocking around. You're not gonna have all the groups. We need our own.
Okay, yeah, I know. I actually think,
Yeah.
actually, I'd like to make a case for Nancy on, either economic development or housing. As someone who is considering senior housing. And apparently she's a landlord.
We might have to talk to her.
I know.
We need to talk to her renter.
Listen, I'm the only person in the entire state that's paying a normal rent. So I'll tell you that.
We're the same. We want you on a focus group.
Let's put her, is everyone okay with putting Nancy Smith in housing? Or
Yeah.
is there a case for something else? Nancy Smith?
Didn't she tell you what you want?
She signed up for everything because she's good like that. She is good like that. She should not be in transportation. She'll be like, no speed limits.
Who should be in transportation?
Yeah, we do need to get some transportation.
You've got
and I'm
Amy.
thinking- We have Amy. I'm actually thinking, well, let's look at our transportation team right now. We've got 3 in housing. We have. So how many people do we have in?
We've got 4 in housing.
Oh, wait,
Well,
I,
Who's the fourth one?
4 is Holly West, because I highlighted her in the wrong place. So we're good on housing. We may have to move Nancy.
So, does everybody know Tim Jennings? He's on all 4, right? But, he works for a nonprofit. It's a perspective that
Yeah,
we don't have too many places here.
okay,
And I think that's an important perspective to have on transportation.
okay.
So that's why I was thinking he might be good there.
He's also our former public works director. So
Oh, well, look at that.
Look at that, he's hired.
Okay?
Okay,
What about transportation?
transportation. Okay. I'm gonna be really crazy here.
You want to make another suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
It
How we
might
get
be
to-
wearing her out on this, but I think Kim Quirk has a very interesting and useful economic development perspective. When she started a business in town, she sold that business. That business is trying to find a place to be. And I know one of her perspectives is trying to get them to stay in.
Okay,
So that would be my vote to put her on economic development.
I agree with that.
Any objections?
any objections?
Sold. Sold.
Practicing. Okay. Carl Russell, did we attach him anywhere?
He might be the only.
I think,
Oh, no, he's
Wait.
got economic development and land use for his 2, by the looks.
Who was
Econ-
that?
Carl Russell. So he only signed up for 2 groups.
any relation to,
That would be my son.
Any relation there?
Yes, that's
Oh,
my son.
I like this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we don't want him on the same thing as Hannah, right?
Yes,
I'm just gonna
yeah, I
spread
would agree
the,
with that.
Why?
What about land use?
Daughters, I mean,
That's his
son,
mom.
son and mother.
Brother, son,
motion.
same family.
I,
Oh, okay, so
Nepotism.
this is.
nepotism.
Well, we can't let Eric go to that one, whatever.
Keep them
Um,
separate.
Same household, whatever that relationship is.
Okay, so
I'm
Carl's
also
going where?
intrigued by his economic development. idea.
Yeah, I did not have any influence over what he selected, so that is interesting.
Now I'm. wondering.
I had to fill that out.
So he's a young guy.
Yeah, he's 13.
That's middle school. He's 13.
He's 13, yep. He's
All right.
he came to the visioning session that we did. He's very interested and he's been reading everything that comes out, so.
Awesome.
He's got a good perspective.
Yeah.
He was in one of my visioning session groups.
Just trying to decide, land use or economic development. So, okay, the recreation side of me would be really interested to hear from him in the land use piece, because that's probably as close to recreation as we're gonna get
Who was
in
that?
some ways.
Pearl.
Oh, Carl.
But I'm also very curious about his other work.
How was he in your business?
He was really good.
So he said either land use or economic development, is that what?
So here as I, and he worked on middle schooler?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the, so if we think about a middle schooler's perspective, economic development, what are younger residents looking for?
Yep.
As businesses, as town, like that kind of stuff, that's a perspective. The other one is recreationally, and I feel like I would make the case for economic development. I think that like business wise. I think
I mean, it'd be interesting.
recreation seems like, oh, well, they play sports or they do, you know, I don't know, it feels too natural.
You don't have to look at me, I'm
I
gonna
know.
recuse myself from this.
I'm looking for you for confirmation. It feels too natural to me. Like that feels like, oh, that'll be the easy fit. I feel like economic development would be more
I'm interested in what he
interesting.
has to say to both,
Wow.
honestly.
We only, same rules, it's only one.
I know. I just,
That would be my case. I would be kind of interested in the economic development perspective.
All right, so let's put them on economic development. That means that we exclude Hannah from economic development.
Yeah, okay.
All right?
All right, so let me catch up here really quickly.
This Connie worked for them.
I'm trying to like cross through people as well.
yeah, that's what I'm trying.
On the screen.
How many do you want per?
I think right now, because we have 18, like if we can get 4 and then we need to fill out, we need to see if we may have to invite some people twice, or we may have to go out and invite some others.
So
Well,
if we look, if you want 4 per, there's only 3 more that haven't been crossed out off transportation. So you really have to pick 2 or 3 there.
Right.
Who hasn't been? crossed out?
Kate, Hannah, and Dave Easton have not either been
Wait, did
selected somewhere else or.
I thought
already-
Dave was on land use. Did we not do that? I'm sorry.
Dave, we did
No,
not do.
we haven't picked
Oh,
anybody.
okay.
Right, but Kim, Nancy, and Holly were already assigned to others. Amy and Tim were already suggested for transportation. So there's, if we want 4, we have to pick Kate, Hannah, and Dave, pick 2 of those.
What'd you put Holly on?
I put Holly on housing because she has a small, a business that's where she's building.
She's with MTV. isn't
She is with MTD, but she also has her own business, Mascoma
Community
Community
properties.
Properties, where she's trying to refurbish apartments and make affordable housing. And is definitely running into issues.
She's also very involved with the Friends of Mascoma.
So Eric, your suggestion is let's go ahead and put Kate, Hannah, and Dave on transportation.
So I'm saying, if we want a total of 4, we just pick 2 of them. Or, you know what I'm saying, right? Like you can't assign more than one of them to somewhere else. We might as well pick the 2 we want
Okay,
on transportation. And we're gonna quickly find,
Yeah,
so
okay.
you know Hannah, but I don't, and I don't know Dave either, but their descriptions of themselves are very similar. So are they similar people or are they different?
I don't know Dave at all. And Hannah's description didn't come through. Oh, no, it didn't.
Parents, school age children, landlord, cyclist, hike, outdoor enthusiast.
I think what looks like the difference is Dave works from home, Hannah walks to work.
He's not a landlord. They're both outdoor enthusiasts.
Yeah. Both bike cycle.
He is a parent with school-age children as our,
I say,
as so is Kate.
Kate drives a lot. There's one, living further out in town.
she does.
I don't know where Dave lives.
I also feel like,
So like Katie and Hannah would give very different driving
gonna need to take a,
points of view.
we have Kim assigned to economic development, right? How about, okay, so here, let's just actually, before we decide, what about Kate? Let's talk about Kate. She's got
Which one?
expertise. Kate Stewart.
On any of them, that's what we're trying.
So, and this may answer the question, because for me, I might lean towards, we have, I've got 4 people on housing. I have how many people on land use right now? I've got 3, right?
I think Kate would be good on economic development. She really,
You've already got 4 people there.
Yeah, we're trying to.
oh,
Right, well, but that's where, but that would leave Dave and Hannah on transportation. Kate does drive a lot.
I have some info on Dave.
Yeah,
Dave is a member of the Enfield Recreation Commission. And he was vice president of the Connecticut River Ironman Baseball Club. And he was a ski assistant for Adaptive Sports Foundation in the North Country. So I'd say he's a recreation guy.
Well, I don't know the last time he went to a meeting, but he's no longer on the Recreation Commission. He was though for years. So,
Yeah, I show him from January 2014 to December 2019
yeah, I was
in his
say,
resume.
he was until we changed up
So-
people, but
But I think Lindsay's onto something. If we want to assign Kate somewhere else, then Hannah and Dave both go to transportation.
Right.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
Dave,
There's only
for,
one other place to put Kate, and that's on land use.
well, no,
because-
so we're not gonna stick to 4,
Oh,
because we have a few more, like, I know, it's confusing. We have 18 people, so
Gotcha.
there's gonna be 2 that'll have 5,
Right. So you need at least 4.
right?
and then we'll-
And then, so,
And I would agree that transportation is a good one to only have 4, and the other ones, 2 of the others to have 5.
so you're thinking Hannah and Dave on transportation?
I think if we want to assign Kate somewhere else, that's what happens.
And I don't think you want to assign Kate to more than one. I mean,
No.
This is a busy person. so
You're not
she's not gonna
assigning
be-
we're not assigning any, yeah, so, we have, I'm trying to think, trying to do this both on paper and, so. Okay, the people that are not assigned, total, now they're not on every single thing. We have Keith Gilbert, who lives out on George Hill Road. He owns properties in Maine. I know that he built somewhere else. He does work from home. School-age children, outdoor enthusiast in a sense of definitely snowmobiling. That sort of like, and skiing. I know that Owen, his son, is at that they've been doing some stuff at Whaleback, that kind of thing. We got Kate Stewart. I would actually cross her off of housing because Holly's on there, so that's an easy one to already, we can eliminate her from there.
Did we
Say that
assign
again.
her-
What did you just do?
I eliminated Kate from housing,
Thank you.
sorry. I know it's a little,
We
and
also haven't assigned Dave his son.
we have not assigned Davis, we have not assigned Keith Gilbert, we've not assigned Hannah, we have not
Yes, Honda's
assigned,
is on transportation.
Same with,
well, we hadn't figured that out quite yet. I mean, I thought we were still in that conversation.
I thought we had decided that we would
Okay.
put Kate somewhere else, which
Okay.
by default put
Yeah.
Hannah and Dave on a transportation.
I wasn't, okay,
The decision to move Kate
Absolutely.
elsewhere, to not put her on transportation by default.
Okay. so then we can do that. So then that gives me, all right, that'll be easy there. So that puts Dave and Hannah on transportation.
So Tim Jennings is no longer on transportation?
No, he also is,
Along with Amy Stewart.
along with Amy Stewart.
Amy, Tim, Hannah, Dave. transportation.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna just, okay. So, so transportation is 4 and that one's done. We still have, so now,
I was gonna say, so you
We
have.
have Kate. Did you put her on land use?
I have not put Kate anywhere.
But land use is the only one that doesn't have 4 people yet. right?
Okay, but there's also multiple other people
I
that haven't.
understand. I'm
Yeah,
just trying to,
yeah,
I'm trying to make sure my.
yes.
thinking is the same.
So I have, who you have?
So right now, I'm looking up on the screen, so what I have available. So everybody has, wait, so land use is the only one that does not have 4, right? So let's go ahead and give it a 4th.
Kurt Goddard is not on anything.
Let's say Kurt's
And,
also not.
He needs to be on housing or land use.
Kurt,
Put
Yeah.
Kurt on land.
I think Kurt's on land. I
Yeah,
just feel
would
like,
put- I would agree.
okay.
I think Kurt is, that's his,
It's his specialty.
it is his specialty. And sometimes you have to lean into someone's specialty. Sometimes you lean away from it, sometimes you lean into it. So that gives us, I'm just
So
catching
who's
up.
on
here.
land?
Land use, right now, we have Jeffrey Carney, Kurt, oops, I think I highlighted Aram, but we weren't sure about that, so I'm gonna undo that. Hold on.
I thought
No, we
No,
had.
no, we
a-
were, you're good.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. We decided on Aram there. Okay. And Susan Brown,
For 4.
that's for 4. Okay. Which means I want to make sure I'm going to come over here. And so then I have, so what we have left is we've got on, for economic development, there is Kate or Keith, maybe.
Andrea Lassard, right?
Boy,
We,
we've
No,
already
she's
got 4
on
on
economic
economic development.
Yes.
I know, everybody has 4 now.
We said.
Everybody has 4.
Sorry.
The only 2 left are Kate and Keith. One, I think housing is such an important thing that it's worth putting a 5th on that,
Yep,
which would be Keith.
which would be Keith.
Because we said we weren't gonna put Kate because Holly's on.
Yep, and Kate will go to land use, which to me makes sense. Just
Okay.
Well,
because
she
she's a
could choose
farmer.
either economic development or land use, either one.
I would say land, I don't know.
I
Okay, so
would
is
say
Kate on
economic-
economic development or land use?
I
Let's
would
put,
say economic development.
okay, economic development.
I'm agnostic.
Yep,
She,
I
I mean,
think
she has strength on both.
she has
for
strength on
sure,
both.
But
All right, so
I
we're
think
gonna
her passion might be.
her
economic development.
economic development.
So the only one left is Keith, is that
No,
right?
he's on
No,
housing.
He's on housing.
He, we
So
put
housing
Keith
and
on,
economic development have 5 people,
yeah,
Which I
Right.
think is both.
and land use and transportation have 4.
yeah, so on housing, very quickly, we have. Then we're gonna look at, hopefully, that, here's the only other thing that's gonna
Transportation is
matter
4 PM.
Now I get to go.
is figuring out which day. And that we might have to change somebody, but, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna erase.
Yeah, read off each category. Who's on it, please.
Okay, I'm gonna start with economic development. Huh?
I had said I have lists over here, and it's easier for me to read. my
Sure,
list than
Whitney,
you to
why don't you
shuffle.
read the list?
All right, so housing, we have Liz Rizzo, Dick Dumay, Holly West, Nancy Smith, and Keith Gilbert. Economic development, Julie Eckert, Andrea Lessard, Kim Quirk, Carl Russell, and Kate Stewart. Transportation has Amy Stewart, Tim Jennings, Hannah, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. and Dave, also don't know how to pronounce his last name. And then land use is Susan Brown, Jeffrey Carney, Aram, and Kurt.
I'm deleting some stuff, so I'm gonna maybe like, I know this is gonna be, I hate deleting things. I mean, it's not like it's deleted. So we've got 4 on land use, right?
Yeah.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on housing.
Yeah.
We have transportation, we have 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just catching up with deleting these, because then we're gonna just find a common time that works with either 1 or 2 people from, I think we can have both people from the committee if it works. If it doesn't, then that's okay. That was just a,
Well, I guess my question was, as a task force, we still have to, and because we have met ourselves as
Yeah.
subcommittees with 2 and we're not majority, that just feels like that would go too far down, but I'm not saying that.
I
I wouldn't
think,
put that past people to argue. with.
right, so I think it's just cautionary. It's just
Right.
one of those things that like, I think that Brandy's like, just be aware, like this is out there in the world that folks are being, you know, and it's just cautionary. That she's seen it in other places, right? Just,
Oh, for sure.
so I don't think we have to be too. So. But I think we'll be fine. And again, if we can get both folks from the chapter there, since done the work, but if not, that's okay. If we can get one person and Brandy, and then potentially looking at hybrid meetings. It may come down to hybrid meetings, with encouraging people to be in person. It's easier in person, but I know like I mean, Keith put down, I'm just gonna use him because he put down virtual. I think he's the most, I think he's like the only one that just said virtual. We can say, please come in person.
Yeah, I think hybrid's good because that way. you can
I'm
get
not
the
sure how
most
far Brandy has to travel,
participation.
so, you know,
So you're gonna make it hybrid.
She comes
Oh,
from
you-
Heartland, Windsor, so she's got about 40 to 45 minutes. drive.
right, I'm trying to be considerate of her time as well.
I'm
Like,
saying, if it's hybrid,
having to
then people have
travel
a
4
choice.
times unless we can
Unless
do
we
things.
can do them back to back.
Right, unless we can stack things. So that's, it's those, we'll, let's just keep the minds open there. Okay. So let's take a look. I'm just gonna start with economic development because it's the first page on this sheet.
Can I make a suggestion that might be a bit easier to read?
Uh-huh.
If you hide the description,
I had the description.
yeah, you can right click and just say, tell it to hide. And then, I was gonna say, if you stretch them out so they aren't stacked, it might be just easier to
Wait.
match the time. So right click it,
Right click what?
the
C,
column, the C
right
column.
by
Okay,
the C.
I'm like,
Sorry,
you're
your
just
mouse is
like
on there.
using
Now go
random
down and hide
pronouns.
to the bottom.
Yeah,
And then just, yeah,
and not a hide. I just was like, right click which one? Okay.
the description one. And then if we stretch out the times, they'll kind of be stacked on each other, so we might be able to pick a common time easier is all
Okay.
I was thinking. But by getting rid of the long one, it just shortens the whole thing.
I don't know if we can stack them.
Well, I just mean,
I know.
because they already are, so.
I see, I can probably get rid of it. I can hide that as well. Yeah, all right. So,
So is there more to Julie Eckert's time since there's a comma after 4 p.m.?
yes,
Can you stretch that
maybe,
too?
or I can, maybe. No, there's not. I don't know why there's a comma.
She just did.
You could also make the column,
So,
but that's all right, that's all right.
okay, so I'm gonna say we eliminate, let's eliminate the ones that have white
Yeah.
spaces. It looks like, oh, we picked Carl Russell here and he's got 2 times. That may not have been,
School,
huh?
it's in school.
Well,
Right.
but
But this is where,
4 p.m. Yeah, you've got some
is everybody
conflict there.
available at one of those 2 times?
no,
No.
almost. Kim is not, Julie is not.
I would argue, I'm gonna do this to her even though she's not here. I would argue Kate's availability on Monday would depend on the Monday.
It's gonna be on the 21st.
She's there.
So next Monday, she's got.
And so it's a select board. so
Yeah.
The same.
So,
How long is it supposed to last?
I mean, I'm hoping that it will be 2 hours tops. I mean, that's what I put out there saying it would be. So,
So is everybody on this list that you're
Mhm.
looking at meeting at the same time, or are they each taking a slot?
no, they're meeting at the same time. It's a focus group.
That's good,
Yeah.
that's what I just want to make sure. Okay. And the 0.75 you have on Thursday for Kim is one of
Is
those
6
supposed to be-
PM. It's 6 PM.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I missed some of
No,
the
that's okay.
0.75s.
How about Friday at 4 p.m.?
That would be the-
Got it.
Okay, can Carl come at that point in time?
I can work on them.
Okay.
Insider information.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a group that has 5, so,
Well, I mean, part of it, I know that part of his scheduling was that he just wants me to sit with him so that he's more comfortable, which
Okay.
I'm going to do.
okay,
And then the other piece is, his grandpa, who he hasn't seen in a long time, is coming that weekend.
okay.
But I think that 4 on Friday, I could probably figure out. It looks like that'd be the only time.
The other one
I
is,
was looking like earlier in the week before,
So
there's
we wa-
other people who can't go at 4 on Monday or Tuesday. And then
Thursday's the only other
Thursday.
spot.
there's
Yeah,
somebody
so
canceled
Friday,
for-
4 PM, it works for the other 4 people. Okay. Okay. We're gonna-
Done.
So,
Well, done until we look at the other things, see if everybody else is on the other things also have to do it 4 PM on Friday.
well,
But we've started with this one, so 4 PM on
I'm
Friday.
gonna just gonna do this.
This is the 25th, right?
And so this is economic development. If can Maynard or Bridget, can either of you make that time?
So
This
this
is
guess
next
that would
Friday, the 25th?
Yes,
I cannot. Oh, wait, not this Friday. I'm sorry.
not this
This
Friday.
Friday, no, next Friday. Yeah.
Let me see.
What's the following Thursday?
I can do Friday the 25th.
Okay,
I can do.
you can?
Mhm.
25th, okay. We're gonna
Correct.
just,
Yeah, we're on economic development.
we're on economic development. We're gonna just hide the rest of this.
And where are these taking place?
Um,
Either virtually or,
yeah,
here.
so hopefully here, we can set up a virtual.
what you
It,
said Brandy had to do virtual.
she doesn't have to.
Okay.
I need to send her all these dates and times. I think if we use this room and so somebody has to come in virtually, we want to encourage everyone to be here in person.
Got it.
It's a little bit more productive. to be able
I
to-
would strongly agree with that.
So, but,
Yes.
Yeah, me
and
too.
it's- Yeah, and then like this can be looked, we can use the screen to like look at the two, I mean, everybody, we're gonna send everybody the information
Okay.
as well.
Next.
Next,
All right, I'm down.
thank you. All right. Well, so we have, we're doing transportation, so
Excellent choice.
Eric and,
Brad.
Brad,
Brad.
sorry. I started reading this stuff and so.
Well, Friday's out according to what we just planned for economic development.
Yeah.
And so is Saturday.
Friday,
Saturday's out
Friday and Saturday is out.
because Amy can't do it.
It looks like you have to look at Monday or Tuesday to get everybody.
Right, and so it looks like, all right, so here's our other issue. We've got Dave Ipsum says not past 2 PM.
Except for Monday.
Except for Monday. Nope,
Monday at 4. See the last?
where?
No, that's Nancy,
No.
Oh, is that Nancy?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
other than Saturday. He can do later Saturday.
he can do later Saturday, but if,
Amy can't.
Saturday's taken off the screen.
well, I can undo that.
Yeah, but that was because Amy's unavailable on Saturday.
Yeah, Amy's unavailable. Hannah's only available at 10 AM.
I mean, if he's not available after 2, the only possible day is Saturday, because you have 2 teachers.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
gonna
And those
say,
2
yeah,
are
you
not gonna be
you
available
can't do it.
before 2 during the week.
Right,
That was,
Um,
and I'm sure for Amy, it probably depends on which week.
Oh, she would have looked at that and
yeah, so she only,
Saturday.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So-
I'm gonna say, Dave signed up for anything else,
He did.
but he's gonna have the same problem probably.
Yeah.
His other one was land use.
You just might as well keep the 2 teachers on
Yeah.
the same list because Eric's right. They're really restricted.
So Amy Stewart is a teacher, is that what I understand?
Yeah,
and so Sonic. And they're both at EDS.
Got it.
yeah.
So,
I'm
Just
gonna,
tell Harrison to come and make it. perfect.
What about, I was thinking 4 o'clock on Wednesday and we could use some influence with Eric on.
I can't do
But-
that.
I'm gonna say Hannah can't do that.
It doesn't look like Dave
So-
can do it either.
I'm gonna say we go for Tuesday, 6 PM. We invite Dave to be able to do that. if he cannot, you know, we can invite him if it's a matter of, I don't know, Dave, does anyone know his son? Sorry.
No, but it looks like he's gonna have that issue.
Yeah,
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we can, if we're doing it in this room, we'll have a virtual component.
So Tuesday at 6 for transportation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we just, will that work for either of you?
It'll work for me.
Okay, let's just do that, and if we have to, I think, yeah, we're gonna just do that. We'll invite him and say, I know it doesn't work for you. But this was the only time, and
So Tuesday at 6.
Tuesday, which
That
is March
Tuesday,
22nd.
22nd.
Is it 22nd?
I have a conflict, but I will try to get out of it.
Okay. Is Monday better?
Yes, but I don't know, we sort of,
No, it's okay. It's you and Eric. So 6 PM works on Monday for the same 3 people that it worked for on Tuesday. Dave is gonna be, I'm gonna have to just invite him.
Yeah.
So if Monday's better, but Eric, it's Monday for you, or you,
I don't know.
right,
so one of us will make it either way, so it doesn't matter.
I don't know on Monday.
Pick a day, Monday or Tuesday.
to decide.
Tuesday's better for me, but that's,
So let's do Tuesday and I'll try to get out of my.
Okay, all right. Okay. That's,
That's
Alright.
land use,
What's next?
no, that's transportation.
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 Yeah, so now we're going to I'm gonna hide all of these things. Great, Tuesday, March 22nd. So now we're going to housing, just because this is the way it's in my particular works. And
Looks like Monday.
It's like Monday.
Monday
looks
looks like
like
the biggest.
Mon-
No, Keith Gilbert's not available.
No, not Keith.
oh, yeah, sorry.
Can you scroll up one?
Yep, I just did, sorry. So we want to maybe take out Tuesday, just because if we want to use this
Well, wait,
room.
but Tuesday may be the only day that all of those people can do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we're
this
here-
room is already being occupied unless we
Tuesday
can
at 4,
unhide.
four.
Yep,
4,
Tuesday at
4,
4,
Everybody's
4,
available.
4,
except for
4,
Keith.
except for Keith. He's a
So-
6 PMer.
One option
Mm-hmm.
would be to move Keith over to transportation, which would guarantee 4 people in that group. And then invite Dave to housing,
Yep,
and 4 might be better. I mean, and then there'd be at least 4 in housing, plus if he could make it.
Dave?
Dave in housing and Keith in, you said transportation?
I don't think he wrote himself
He
there,
did
but we can
not.
invite him. I'm just giving
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
scheduling wise though, he's available at 6 PM on Tuesday. Which is when we set for transportation.
Right.
May not be his interest. but-
Well, also, so
He's also virtual only, right?
you can't see it. He is, all right, yeah, that's his preference, for sure. I'm sorry, there we go, you. I'm like, I don't know where he's at. So let's go up to 200%. I'd be like, whoa, too much. Thank you. I'm gonna do maybe a little less. Okay. Here is.
We don't need to make that.
Hold on. I'm just gonna flip over to something else really quickly. Economic development, we decided Friday for, okay, yeah, we're in housing.
Could we do Tuesday at 4 and 16 for next time?
Yes,
Did you just say that?
yes,
We've got Tuesday at 6 for transportation.
But that would also help.
Randy,
If Randy wants to come,
Let's do-
she'd have 2 in a row.
Tuesday
Ah.
at 4, can you do that?
So
Yeah.
would you just give Dave the option, which one's better for him? And say, can you do 4 o'clock or could you do 6
I
o'clock?
think you gotta invite people to one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna invite Keith to join us at 4 PM on Tuesday. And if not, the other thing I can do is say, here's the chapter.
Yep.
Submit some comments, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Like I just, what am I doing? I'm looking at my calendar. What is,
Right at 4, but yes.
and I cannot.
Just to throw it out there.
I could
so-
do Wednesday.
So if Keith
Uh-huh.
can't make the time, he was also interested in economic development,
Right.
which we took him off of. And
Hmm.
yeah, on economic development, and he was also interested in land use.
Yes. So,
So let's take a look at land use and see if there's a continued conflict with Keith. He's not even on the list.
hold on, I know,
Yeah,
because
so because we took him off.
but we know but we know he's at 6 PM. His
Right,
timing
right.
is always,
Yeah.
is consistent,
That's
has not changed.
I think
And
that's
not Monday.
honestly the biggest challenge with these groups is working schedule.
Yep,
Well,
versus-
that's why,
And anybody who volunteers but has a limited schedule has got to be prepared for that. We just couldn't fit him in the schedule.
Right.
We're gonna.
and I did
compare-
say that, we did say that in the thing, like, based on availability.
Right, right.
So here is a possibility. Susan Brown is not available any evening.
Everybody looks like they're available there on Monday at 4 PM.
Oh, yeah. Do we have anybody else on Monday?
Airline.
Or Saturday at 4.
Or Saturday at 4.
Oh, I don't want to take people's weekends.
So Monday at 4.
Monday at 4. Great.
Which Monday is this?
This will be yeah, so actually, land use folks, are you available Monday? The 21st, next Monday,
21st?
21st.
Yes,
It is not the weekend you're out of town.
right.
The weekend
It's the
before.
weekend before.
Yep.
So yes, I am available.
Okay, so Monday, March 21st, and we said,
4 o'clock.
Or
That brings us back to the-
right? Will you be available? Excellent. Ashley, what about, I can't do Tuesday. And I would definitely like to be around. I can do Wednesday. I'm teaching on Tuesday, but I don't have to be here, but. Yeah. Nope, I'm still cleaning this one up really quickly. Okay, and then I'm gonna I'll be right, let me get rid of all this. I did. Should have hidden people in my kit. All right, so, Monday, let's just say, okay, here are the possibilities. Nancy Smith's available later, so I think, actually, oh, wait a second, she's out of town for a little while. She's not available Monday, not available Tuesday. I don't even know why she put that down.
Oh, we know she went to budget meetings.
She's in
later, 4
Florida.
PM.
She's not even in the state. But.
Why are there 6 people on this phone?
Did I?
should only be 5. Keith, Dick, Liz, Nancy, Holly.
Oh, Andrea. Oh, I actually, isn't she she's in economic development. Right? Yeah, so I just, thank you. I just forgot to kick her out. There we go. Great. I think Wednesday at 6 looks best.
Yep, and you'll have to get some influence on Nancy.
And
we'll see if
Dick,
Dick
Well,
can
why
Dick
did you
is-
take Nancy off of Tuesday,
because she's in Florida.
even though she put it on her thing? right?
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm taking care of Juan the cat. So
Got it.
she and my sister are in Florida.
Got it,
So she didn't realize that.
got it.
So
Okay, so outside of,
Yeah, Keith
guess.
got 6 only. so that's
right, he has 6 only.
very
Dick
limited.
doesn't have any time past. I can't do Tuesday, not that I have to be there. Oh, Nancy can't do Tuesday, so we should just, I'm gonna just hide Tuesday.
What?
What?
What if Nancy wasn't on housing? You put her on economic development, but she can Friday, if somebody from economic development, put her on housing.
Okay,
Like, who's on economic development, who would express an interest in both economic development and housing? I'm just suggesting.
right.
you know,
I can't do Tuesday, so not just Nancy can't, but I'm on the housing subcommittee, but Ashley can lead it. You can do Tuesday. And Brandy can, so I don't have to be here.
So if you put Nancy on economic development, we
Mhm.
make it a Friday, who could we take off of economic development? Andrea Lassard was interested in both, when we put her on economic development.
Okay.
She was interested in housing. Same thing with Kate Stewart.
And she can make 6 PM.
And Same thing with Kim Burke.
Kim should not be on the same as Dick.
Might
Right.
be
correct.
easier just to
And we're
ask
trying to
if they
avoid
could
Kate
change it.
knowledge.
If possible, but
they can't play well.
We can do. So we're still running into, so if I take Nancy off, so just forget about her for a second. We'll just hide
Well, you
her.
have a conflict between Dick and,
Right, so I've got a conflict between Dick and Keith the entire time.
Right.
Exactly.
So, so then it's a matter of moving Keith,
Keith has that time on all,
right,
whatever he does.
right?
1, 2, 3.
that's
So
why I was
we-
suggesting handing him, I know it wasn't his interest, but transportation's meeting at 6 on Tuesday.
Okay.
So if we offered him that slot,
Mhm.
if, you know, even though it wasn't his interest, that's the one that's meeting at the time he's available.
Okay.
Just, I mean, I'm just making a suggestion.
That's a good,
That's a
good
sensible one.
thought.
Yep.
So, I mean, if he comes back and is like, no, then you just say, well, then
He's
it's 4
got,
PM.
You can't do it.
he's got transportation issues. I mean, I know that, because he asked me why they're fixing the road out there. Okay,
And it's Dick the only one that.
and then, yeah, so so it looks like Dick is someone that wants to be in the afternoon.
Yeah, 4 PM works for everybody except Keith.
I mean.
So let's grab it.
Except does 4 PM work for Ashley?
You get there at 4 PM.
You can get here at 4 PM on Tuesday.
Probably not a minute earlier, but yes.
Okay. So then it'll be you and Brandy, because I can't get here at all. Okay.
So you're taking Keith
So
off.
Keith
or
is
you're
off
inviting him?
housing.
Taking Keith off
And I'm sorry, and it's 4 o'clock, but what day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 22nd.
So now we have to reassign Nancy's
So
work.
what now? Housing is-
That was housing.
Okay, so this is housing. We're gonna do Tuesday, March 22nd. Right? And 4 PM. And then we're gonna offer Keith transportation. Because that's the one that fits best his schedule.
Time schedule.
And then we are going to
Take Nancy off of housing.
took Nancy off of housing. So this is gonna be the day. And then what we'll do is, we will.
Who's the-
Four.
We moved Andrea over. Got it. We took Andrea off of economic development.
No, yes,
Yes.
correct. Yes, and we're gonna add Nancy to economic development.
Okay.
Um, Yep, sorry,
Are we adding somebody to,
and we're gonna add, and, sorry,
adding somebody to housing?
Andrea.
We only have Dick.
Andrea's
That's
gone
on
to
to housing.
housing.
and
right?
Andrea.
Andrea was not on housing.
Well,
Yes, she is.
right,
She
but
was.
She was originally.
She was, like,
We've
she
flipped her back.
expressed interest in it.
Okay, so she's off.
Got it.
She's off economic development. We're gonna do Nancy on economic development.
Whitney, have you followed all this?
I think so.
That's why I like postcards.
I am, I say movable things.
So I think we got,
Things that can move around. I don't like doing this on computers with multiple screens.
the only
Right.
open item is, somebody has to ask Keith if he would be interested in
And I will
transportation.
do that. We also, so transportation, we've got two people we need to invite. So, but we'll, because for Dave,
Right, it's later than he puts
Got
it.
it right now.
is, it's later than what he did.
Yes, very cute.
Yeah, it is confusing, but I think we just nailed it.
Yeah, we're pretty close, pretty close. Couple of
Okay.
asks, but pretty close.
Yeah, the ask is of Keith, right? And then.
And the time for Dave.
Land use is going to be 4
Got one
PM
time, one
on
interest.
Monday.
But, yeah, okay.
Wait, yeah, and they have to be out here by 6
Right. 'cause
because select
coming.
board is starting. So they'll be done, but they have to be out of here by 5:45.
Now, will they be getting these reports beforehand?
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
getting everything ahead.
Okay.
So a question on the reports. I have a couple of changes, corrections to transportation. Should I not worry about it or get it to Brandy or?
You can bring them with you
Bring them to the focus group.
to the focus group.
Well,
What are the
they're
corrections?
errors, so I'd like to fix those.
Are they
Okay,
Major errors or?
There's,
just like
it looks like
number
there's
errors?
2 housing items under the SWAT that's in the transportation. Looks like it was left over, unless I'm missing something. But, and a couple other ones, but I could just wait and bring it up.
Why don't
or-
you just send them to Brandon?
Send them to Brandy and she can clean that up
Okay.
before she sends out the
Or
final.
if you can't clean it up, she'll just come to the meeting with it and say this is the problem.
Yeah, but, you know,
right.
easy
So
to clean up.
I told everyone we would contact them by the 16th. So that gives us 2 days. So if there are any corrections, they need to get to Brandy that she is able to do. She will not be able to completely input and read the new conservation study that we don't know yet. But if there are things like that that are quick for her to do, because I want to be able to send all this information out to people on the 16th so that they have 5 days to look it over and think about it.
And then I have another question
Sure.
towards the group as a whole. I spent some time looking at the recommendations. And a lot of the recommendations seem to be advisory, include, and they're not particularly specific or measurable. Is that okay? Did anybody else get that feeling as well?
What's the guiding principles? Is that what you're talking?
I'm talking about the recommendations from every chapter. It's the last piece of
Okay.
every chapter, and it just seems they're very, if I was advising my students, I would say wishy-washy in terms of not very specific. And I'm wondering if we need to be more specific, or if anybody else felt the same way. If no one did, then I'm in the minority, I'm
I
good.
haven't had a chance to look at all of them again
Okay.
from the ones that were sent today.
Well, what's the purpose of the
But I would want to-
recommendations? I think is the thing. Is it to be advisory or is it to be very specific?
It's to be,
Well,
it's to be specific
Yeah.
in terms of what we are advising. which is,
Well, what I'm thinking of is someone's gonna get this action item to follow it, right? It's gonna go
Yeah.
someplace.
Yeah,
Right? And if it's work with the Upper Valley, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you could say that that was accomplished and it really wasn't.
so when I read this
I like that.
initially, I thought that those recommendations for each chapter were gonna be the go-to things in this master plan. So that when any committee
Yes.
is saying, do I want to approve this, or should we consider this proposal, or whatever?
Agreed.
I'm gonna say, before I do that, I'm gonna go look at the master plan.
Yep.
See how it was addressed in the master plan, and I'm gonna look at the recommendations.
Yeah.
And if it recommended, don't put a warehouse on Interstate 89, the community doesn't want big warehouses on it, then I'm gonna say, okay, well, I can't approve this project, because we've already been through this. Or if
that
somebody,
sounds specific to me.
But I see what you're saying as far as if it's too vague.
Yeah.
And I say this because I sat there watching it happen on the school board and it was very frustrating. We gave a goal for the strategic plan. It was like, oh, we did it. Doesn't mean it was done well, doesn't mean it was a successful done. It was just, we checked the box. So it's like I feel like we have to walk a middle line of
Let me give you
guidance with a little direction
Yeah.
potentially if we have it anyways.
An example that came to mind as I was reading the transportation, it said, work with the community to expand advanced transit, which I think is a fine objective, but I'm thinking that we might want to get more specific because what people told us was along 4A. That there was a number of people who mentioned and requested that we, if we can, improve and expand advanced transit, it's along 4A. And we didn't say that. Now, maybe that's fine. And we leave it up to, the selectmen and whoever's going to get assigned that task. I don't know.
Well, I guess is that information gonna be in the transportation? I mean, we're not gonna have all of those responses in there.
It's not in
so we
there.
can't-
It's not in.
We can't
Okay,
expect them to know what people.
But
want.
anyways.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I see what you're
share, wait a second, hold on. I don't want that. Really quickly, so let's take a look at two things. I'm gonna, share my screen again here. Maybe if I can get to it. Hold on. So these are the. Nope, I want the agenda. What do we get? Pulling up here? Okay, hold on. I know, I can't see it. So these are the focus group questions that, 1 second, I'll get to. Zoom. Let's get up to, oh my God. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, so, introduce yourselves, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so everybody's gonna get the vision statement, guiding principles, but it's a very simple discussion here. And this is basically, these are, if you can have a 15-minute conversation about visioning, power to you. We have to do the fine balance here. So here it's like, what did we get right about the recommendations? Are there recommendations that you disagree with? This might be that point and just say, or do we need to get more specific?
Yeah.
I mean, we need to be consistent across chapters.
I think
Randy,
many of the
what time it is?
recommendations people will read and go, that's fine.
Right,
There's not a lot of specificity, but
but that is so here's the, and here's the, I don't know. how to see it
Just
here.
down below that.
I know, it's just to make things in my
That's
way.
the way it's supposed to be.
I think there's a couple different ways to go about it. So here's the recommendations. Shit.
you had it.
I did have it.
Oh, you had it
Oh, there
again.
it is. Right there. Okay. That's over out of my way. So strongly advocate for the state to engage in community-driven design process leading to the redesign of intersection Route 4 with Maple. Like that one's very specific. That's like a target point, right? So some I think are, some are not. I think one of the other things that we had talked about was, does this get assigned to a certain group? you know, like, and so maybe I think this is the conversation we have with the focus groups
Okay,
and say, how is this going to be more effective as you're reading it? Maybe that's this is just a draft. So that might be your what we're conversing. What we don't want to do is get into too much in your focus groups. You don't want to get into too much wordsmithing, looking for like editing. We want to focus on these recommendations. Do they make sense? Are they getting specific enough? Do we need to pull back? We may not be able to control what advanced transit goes, but we can I don't know.
Is that a question that we can ask about? Who do you think within the town
Sure.
system should own this kind of
Yeah, do we want
project
to?
of either each of the recommendations or of the recommendations as a whole? Is that?
Yeah, or do we add in a recommendation that says, is one of the recommendations for transportation to develop a transportation committee? I don't know if we need more committees, but you know what I mean? Like commission, I don't know.
No, still good. And it's just confused.
I think that's where, I think this is a really good point, but that's like the conversation to have. Do others see this as too non-specific? Is there too much wiggle room, or I don't know.
I'm fine with the discussion. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it could be the part of the discussion in books.
Mhm.
Just not something
Well, I
that-
think it would be good too to.
Yeah, and if I can make one more point, Dave and I, we looked at the New London master plan dated 2021. And there they have charts, specific charts with land use commercial. Develop a comprehensive form-based code for New London zoning in the existing commercial and institutional zones. And then they've got responsible party planning board, estimated year 2020, 2022, and then the status column. If you go back and look at that, I think that was distributed. That was, I thought, a very good addition to their master plan.
Okay. Phil, do you mind sending that along again? I know that Bridget has brought that forth with something that was done with the strategic plan for the school board, is that they had that same sort of working chart. And maybe that is something that we need to implement. Maybe that's,
I mean, I honestly think when you assign stuff to a group, it's the easiest thing, right? So
Right.
planning's gonna have kind of a bunch of these, might fall on planning, but at least that way they can, at least they can keep track of like, okay, have we even started this thing yet? What was our goal on this thing? It doesn't tell you how to get there necessarily, but at least it's all consolidated,
and
and it helps other
I
people
also
see.
feel like though there is a chapter, I seem to remember when we, like that there was almost like when Randy laid this out at one point
The
to us,
implementation chapter.
the implementation chapter that we haven't
So
seen.
say, 'cause she had something.
I mean,
Right.
Other ones
yeah.
that we
And we had
liked.
talked about having the implementations directly in each chapter, so maybe that's just something we haven't quite seen yet. Because I think that all of this is good. Are these specific enough? So we need to, that's the nitty gritty. So I'll send this document to everybody, or I'll send it to Rob to send everybody. The times, you may readjust them. I don't think I put it up here. This is the discussion. 25 minutes for 5 people over the recommendations. I don't think you're gonna get it done. But you might have to readjust, but what we want to do is not talk about, we want to talk about what's in the master plan and not start doing the actual
Right.
planning work, which is where folks like to get into the weeds and or spend a lot of time telling old stories of what happened in 1980 and what happened to, I mean, we want to be real, like that's going to be the hardest thing about leading focus groups. They're fairly small. If there is somebody else you feel like should join your focus group, we've got a nice tight group, but if there's somebody, if
I
there's
like
something
the
that's
fact that it's
missing.
4 or 5 people. I think that's gonna be very productive.
Okay. But the biggest thing is to really keep it on track of not going down too many rabbit holes of like, well, back here and back then and this there. What does this plan say? Is this plan reflecting what we think now and how we want to go towards the future, not what was done in 19, like, are we that balance? You know
What
I
are
mean?
your thoughts on the rest of us sitting in when available on the other chapters, but just remotely and just listening, not being involved, being silent? Should we avoid?
I would love to. do
I'm
that.
hoping to do.
And I
Okay.
think that's where we run into the problem. if we're talking about quorum, if too many people showed up at once.
I will not show up for any other one. I promise you.
I'm just
I
saying.
have very
Well, I'm
busy
very
week.
curious,
I'm
I
not
think
saying
that
I'm
would be
not.
great. I think we have to watch out and just make it,
as long as you're silent, you know?
If we're not participating,
and you're there as a member of the public.
I don't think
or
No.
these,
these
you
are
walk a
public
fine line
meetings.
to, like, if we are worried about
Yes.
quorum showing up, then we have to worry about quorum showing up to those. So 2 people in a subcommittee is not gonna be a problem, but if a bunch of people, I mean, it could just happen one time, who knows, but then I think you just walk, your presence alone makes a quorum, not whether or
Rob,
not you speak.
could you get a reading from Ed on that?
'Cause I agree with you.
Let our town
I'd love to look
manager
at that.
decide.
I just get nervous if we're.
Well, that's where then we would have a Zoom for all of them.
Yeah.
And we weren't necessarily gonna have a Zoom for all of them, but we could, and then you're
Okay.
just a Zoom.
Definitely not in
watcher.
person. I completely agree that we should not show them on in
Right, so
person.
I mean, I don't know, that, again, this is if
And
we
if we can
have,
avoid Zoom, we should.
if we have a Zoom for all of them, then it can be recorded, and that's not necessarily,
But then it is definitely public record.
right, then
If
it
you
is.
record it, and that's not really the intent of
You need to.
the
Of a focus
group,
group?
focus group. I mean, focus groups are supposed to be places where people can
Really just speak, yeah.
just
And,
speak.
So I think we
The
should
idea of
avoid
keeping
Zoom
them
and
small is
avoid the
to not-
public meeting and just have 4 or 5 people really talking to you or Brandy or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
As much as I want to, you convinced me.
I wasn't, I was
Yeah.
working for all of it. I just don't have time. That's why I'm not coming.
Yeah, when we did the focus group, about 2 years ago with the first consultant, they did an audio recording, did they not, Rob?
Yeah.
So,
They kept very meticulous notes.
yeah, I thought the description or the transcript was done from the audio recording. Maybe, maybe not, but if we could record it, at least audio, then the rest of us could listen to it at some point in time if we wanted to.
And that way you wouldn't miss anything that was critical, because I'm sure some of it's gonna happen fast, right? People are
Yeah.
gonna be talking at the same time and all of that, so recording it would be good, I guess.
And I think most focus groups are recorded, at least the ones that I've been in.
Okay.
We have that capability, Russ?
Would you, I have a little A3 recorder that we used to use before we started doing Zoom.
Or you could use that without the video.
Is that-
Might be better quality.
Does it seem problematic for?
Well, I don't think there's any problem with recording it. I think you just need to make sure people understand
Right.
what is happening.
Yeah, no,
And I do think that
absolutely.
people react differently when they have an audience up on the screen watching them
Yeah,
than they do when they don't.
I
So, you
think,
know, if like 5 of us are sitting up on a screen watching everybody, it's a very different experience
absolutely.
than it is if you're just in a room talking.
I think we can tell people that if we just get a little tape recorder, people forget about that because it's not invasive and I wouldn't want to, if we have a meeting where we do have to have Zoom, for one participant, you know, we can do that. But I think that we should keep it to just the people that are in that group. And then, we can do an audio recording, and, you know, that way
I
that
think so.
that we don't miss comments, you know, because somebody is gonna have to try to take notes during all of that, you know, and capture, but you also want to have a free flowing conversation. How much have we hired Whitney for? You've cleared your schedule next week, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Um,
It is before the first week of April.
um,
I'm having a baby at the beginning.
Oh.
So I'll do like our minutes probably remotely.
Oh, you can do it from the hospital bed, come on.
What are you talking about?
So, you're always sitting down. I mean. I'm sorry to not notice you're like 38 weeks. Is that where we're at? Oh my gosh. Okay.
You ever wanna?
All right,
Okay,
what
so
else?
I think that's it. I think that the main thing is like, is just considering about leading these groups is you just got to keep bringing the conversation back and staying really focused on what those recommendations are. Everybody's going to get the visioning chapter and your chapter. And just keeping the conversation there, which can be difficult. And so will be good on it, and she should, hopefully, I'll send her all these dates and be present. If there are ones that she can't be present at, if I can be there, I will, but just to, just to keep on task with that, and we'll send everybody the reading materials, and give them these instructions, like, they're there to talk about the recommendations, or if there's any glaring holes in the text, but glaring. We don't need the folks that show up and be like, there's a semicolon, and we're not interested in.
Speaking of which, we want to take a minute and approve the minutes from.
Oh,
last
yeah.
minute.
Hey, good job. Way to bring it back
And actually,
around.
that might be.
I
Were
read it,
there
I
any-
read
were
it, and I
there-
had no changes.
I had one thing,
Okay,
which
all right, so we're good with that discussion. Everybody's good with those. We'll send that stuff out. Back to the minutes, were there any changes, Bridget?
only line 55, it said grown, and I believe it should say growth. And I wasn't here, but I was just reading. I can't actually say yes or no.
Could have been growth.
There's my input. I mean,
Good word or word?
I was staring at it
There's
like,
only
nah,
one-
I don't think that's.
Only
fair.
one vowel, not a good word. All right, public comments? Seeing as there's nobody here from the public, we.
You want to vote on it?
Oh, we want to vote on the minutes? All in favor of accepting the minutes with the,
Make a motion to approve the minutes as
thank
written,
you.
or with the correction.
Second.
Anything go-
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I
The ayes have it.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Some abstain, 2 abstains,
3 abstains.
3 abstains. That's right. Bear me. Okay,
So are you gonna confirm this tomorrow?
yes. Yeah, I will go and write some emails this evening.
Lindsay, I can email you just a snapshot of like the committee.
That would be beautiful.
Out of a minute, so you don't have to.
That would be great. And yes, I'm gonna confirm with Brandy and all the people on the list tonight,
Just letting him,
before I send them the
just
material.
so, had the conversation, so he's gonna get back to it. So I think that.
All right, so, public, there's nobody here. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Out of here?
Aye.
Aye.
Food.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Bye, Phil, thank you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Bill.
So Eric,
Do you want
Doing
to pull
the
together a
bond
little
list.
bit of,
yes,